Today we have an open hoist. Look at how pretty this shop looks. Floor swept, everything like that. But we have a family member coming today. We're going to be doing some work. We have a 2007 Mitsubishi Outlander coming. We're going to put two new lowered control arms into it because the ball joints are gone. Easiest way for me to do ball joints is just replace the whole control arm. We have MOG parts, so these are guaranteed for life. This whole kit right here, I believe, cost me 300 Canadian from Rock Auto. It also came with inner tie rods and outer tie rods as well. I don't know if she needs these or not. It is my mother's car, but we have them. It's got to go in for an alignment after we're done. So if it needs any of these parts, oh, look at that, it's already falling out. If it needs any of the parts, we now have them. So rather just have it and it'd all be good. Rather that than have to pay the dealership cost, because one of these parts at the dealership is about, I'm pretty sure these tie rods were about $90 each from Canadian Tire, and this whole box here was $300, and these right here from Canadian Tire were almost 280 bucks a piece. On Rock Auto they were like 109, so we saved a lot of money. So basically these parts are free, but we're just waiting for that car to show up so we can start working on it. We're also going to be doing the brakes on the Mitsubishi. Now, 2 years ago I did the rear brakes on this Mitsubishi, maybe 3 years ago now. And the Canadian Tire discs, as soon as my mother put her foot on the brakes, it snapped the discs in half. So we only buy the brakes for this vehicle from Canadian Tire now. So, sorry, not Canadian Tire, from Mitsubishi, because the Canadian Tire ones just seem to snap right in half. So he's got all the brakes from Mitsubishi, front and rear. I'm going to do all this. We're going to time lapse it, and then at the end of it I'll tell you guys any tricks, secrets, or problems I ran into, and then I'll give you a scale on how difficult this is. I do have a hoist, so that does give me an advantage, but again, with the Mazda 5 I would have done this without the hoist as well, same as the Mazda 3. So let's see if these Mitsubishi ones are any more difficult than the Mazdas. went pretty smoothly. I'm going to say the control arms came off in the same amount of time as it took for me to do the brakes. Any special tools that I used for the control arms was 19 mil for the back bolt, the middle bolt. I needed a 19 mil wrench, and then a 17 mil wrench and a 17 mil socket to pull out the bolt that holds in the ball joint. And then I needed a little pickle fork. Mine's broken, so you guys can use just about whatever you want. Everything came apart extremely smooth. Believe it or not, the hardest part of this whole job was actually taking the disc off, because it was on there for quite some time. Just to put this into retrospect, I've done both lower control arms, both discs, and both sets of pads in the time that has taken my friend to just do the rear discs. So this is really not that hard. We pulled this apart because we got to get in here and put a transmission cooler. In the winter, my mother hit a snowdrift, and she busted one of the fins inside the transmission cooler. We caught it before it leaked everything out, but this is the transmission cooler right here that came out of my mother's car. And she actually broke these two little nipples right off. So we caught it pretty quick, and we were pretty happy. We avoided any damage done to the transmission. But what we're going to do now is we're going to put a different transmission cooler into it. We just have a piece of steel line looped in there. This transmission cooler is actually out of a half-ton Chevy pickup. It is a little smaller, but you know what? I think it's going to do the job just right. We're just going to cut these off, put it up in there, find a way to fasten it, and then attach it. Pretty simple. We tried to buy one on the internet, and everything we find is just a universal fit, and that's not what we really wanted. So why buy a universal fit when we already have a universal fit? So we're just going to make this, I think this is out of a 2001 GMC Yukon or Chevy Yukon. And we're just going to put it in here. So if it's a big enough transmission to cool a V8 full-size pickup, it's a big enough transmission cooler to cool this V6 SUV. So let's get this in there. I'm going to try to test it in a different couple ways, try to find the way that works the best, and then just install. Let's get going. Well, the Mitsubishi left before I could make a video, and the reason for that is he brought me pizza. When you bring me pizza, I usually forget stuff, but I was pretty happy about the pizza. Anyway, the brakes seem to be the hard part with the Mitsubishi. We broke one of the bolts in the back of to hold the caliper on, so we had to go to town and buy one of those. Overall, I really think the brakes were harder to do than the lower control arms. So if you guys out there want to try doing your own lower control arms, it's really not that hard. The only, like I said, the only tools you need is a 19 mil socket wrench, a 17 mil socket wrench, and a pickle fork just to separate the ball joint. But thanks everybody for watching. I'm sorry that the video kind of ended like this, but I got distracted with pizza and then he left. As you can see his tire marks leaving. But oh well, Mitsubishi's done. Thanks everybody for watching, and like I said, if you guys want to do this on your own Mitsubishi, it really wasn't that hard. I'm gonna say, what time is it now? I think it's like 1:45 in the afternoon, and I started this around 9:30, and I pretty much did everything myself. So I did all 4 brakes and 2 control arms and transmission cooler in about 4 hours. So that really wasn't that bad. Anybody can do it at home, realistically. The hoist just helps. Doesn't make it impossible if you don't have a hoist, it just helps. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.